Life isn't perfect, and neither are we.
Nope. But we know how to face our fears
And have some fun.
and talk about all the messiest things of life.
Like the messiest things.
Get connected to yourself, get connected to others, and get connected to the life right in front of you.
This is The Connected Life with Justin and Abby.
That's me.
That's you.
And you.
I want to start with this. To all of you stubborn people that have still refused to go over to YouTube and hit the subscribe button and the bell button, I still love you.
I do too.
I'm still friends with you.
Yeah.
But we'd have a better relationship if we could see each other face to face. Look, it's a big day. I'm dressed up like Johnny Cash, wearing all black here.
You're like Johnny Cash?
Well, yeah, he's the man in black. That's what he's known as, the man in black. I'm wearing black. I'm all black.
I know. I was just trying to
It's
imagine.
my Johnny Cash day.
I was trying to imagine Johnny Cash in a hoodie.
Look, the principle still stands. He was wearing complete black.
Can you imagine him just in a hoodie playing his guitar?
I can.
Singing.
Emo,
I hurt
emo
myself
Johnny.
today.
I hurt myself today.
In a hoodie?
Mhm.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. I wish Johnny Cash was still around. I really liked his music.
No, I loved his music.
Yeah.
That is a big sidetrack from the fact that today
Ooh, it's a big day.
is a big day.
It really is.
Kind of. Today
Guys, listen
is
up.
September 29th.
Mhm.
That's at least when people will be watching this.
Yep.
And on that day, this day,
It's
This
my
day.
birthday.
it's your birthday.
Another year older. I've already lost all of my hair, so I don't have to worry about it going.
So it just life gets easier every year, right?
Yeah, I got nothing to lose.
Lose things early in life and then things
Yep.
just go uphill. You know what? I was listening to something.
Hit rock bottom. Late 20s.
I was listening to this interview talking about Stephen Hawking, and he was interviewed.
Where is this going? Poor guy, like hit rock bottom early.
He was interviewed about was he happy in his life?
Yeah.
You know, like towards the end of his life. And he's like, I've lived the best life. And they were like, what? You know, because, you know, his life was
How
hard.
did he say it? Did he say it, I've lived my best life, or do you say, I've lived my best life?
Justin. I don't know exactly how he said it. I mean, he obviously said it through the computer voice, but his point was that he you're not going to pull back, are you?
I don't know. Oh God, it's so good. I'm sorry. My
don't care.
dark humor hit me today. It's because I'm wearing
You're
black.
all black. It's so true.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll contain myself.
Okay.
I lived my best life.
Okay, wait. So this is what he says. He said that when I actually don't know enough about his story, like when he got really sick or when his whole life was going to end, he thought, I'm never going to be able to live again. I'm never going to be able to be married. I'm never going to be able to do anything with my life. And so all of his expectations for what life should be got wiped away.
Oh, that's good.
And it like started him at ground zero. So he's like, everything since that moment has exceeded what I thought my life could be.
Yes.
And so it was like this tragic event demolished all of his life expectations.
Right.
And when all of those were gone, it created this space for all of this joy to pop up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought that was a fascinating story.
That was, I think that was profound for me too when I almost died. Now, I didn't come close enough to like his story to lose all expectations, but it did, it lifted a lot of the expectations off of my life when I was 2 months away from dying and being like, I'm just lucky. Like it reset something inside of me to just be like, I'm just lucky every day, like every birthday, every exchange, even the difficult ones, like, you know, Abby and I are fighting and having a complete meltdown. Not so fun. And I still have someone, and that's a good thing. And I get to have this life here and be in this marriage and things like that.
Yeah. I think that there's the concept of expectations create heartbreak, create suffering. There is a quote that says, expectations are just premeditated resentment, which I think is so powerful. And expectations, we don't want to live a life without expectancy. We've talked about this on the podcast before.
Yeah.
Do you want to share about that?
Well, yeah, expectations, they are an idea, a fantasy of rooted in the illusion of control, right? It's like I've created this fantasy of what I want life to look like, and I think I can control life and make it look like that. And where expectancy says, I don't have any illusion of control. I'm not creating expectations of how it's all supposed to play out, but I do have a belief, a hopeful belief inside of me that says beautiful things are going to evolve out of my life, like fulfillment and growth and development and connection and redemption and repair is going to happen inside of my life. So every event, every exchange, every moment of connection with or experience, you have this sense of expectancy that's sitting in the undercurrent. And what you do in expectancy is you open up your hands. They're just open like this. And you're like, I'm a conduit for life to happen. And I get to be an observer that watches it, and I get to ask, how do I want to respond to all of these events, and how do I want to be an active participant as it happens? And that creates this sense of empowerment and this sense of pleasure that isn't being it isn't having like walls or things run over it because of the disappointments. So I'm trying to find my words. The disappointments that come from expectations. Like I'm not all of a sudden running into the wall of disappointment when I'm holding on to expectancy. Because even the worst case scenarios have invitational gifts of beauty inside of them, where I can find joy and gratitude and all of that inside of it.
Yeah, if you think about Stephen Hawking's life, like basically what he said is he faced all of his disappointment at once. Everything was shattered. I'll never be able to live any kind of normal life again. And then he ended up, he had multiple love stories after everything happened, and he wrote books, and he had conversations with all kinds of people. And because all of his expectations of what things had to look like were gone, the disappointment of life was gone. And so he was able to see the gifts of like, I'm not entitled to a life that is without suffering. I'm not entitled to a life without pain. And if I let go of that, now there's a lot of beauty that I can see that I did get to experience.
I made that playful, dark joke about him in the beginning as we started this. And those of us who go through a lot of suffering, like you can take everything serious, right? And you can become like, oh, this is terrible. This is the worst thing. Or you can begin to laugh at our misery at one level. There's a level of grief and seriousness. And then there's a level of like, actually to walk through this, I'm going to become actually lighthearted about the reality of my circumstance.
They've done some studies about how people with dark humor have great resiliency.
Because
it's the only way they survive.
It's true. I know that myself and a lot of other people within the emotional health industry have heard so much tragedy, and it could swallow you alive seeing the trauma of people's lives. Or you end up forming like dark humor and you laugh about it with a sense of honor and respect behind it, where you're like, oh yeah, inside of me, I know the depth of how terrible that situation is. Yeah. But I'm also lighthearted. And I think that that's all part of expectancy. I think that there's something about dark humor wrapped into expectancy, like a life that's truly out of control.
Well, dark humor is kind of like laughing at the adventure of what's happening, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah. You're just like, wow, what a wild mess of stuff. That is so painful. Yeah. And I see beauty.
Yeah. Today we wanted to have a conversation. This is a great leeway, the expectation conversation into different...
Before we do... Yes. Before we lean into that, I actually have a birthday wish today.
I thought we'd end with your birthday wish.
No, I want to start with my birthday wish because I want people to hear about my birthday wish.
Okay.
So my one thing that I said this next year I want to do for my birthday, my wish for it is that I could relaunch the Tree of Life. I think it's been something that has been radically impactful for all the people that have read it. And ultimately, I sold 5,000 copies of the book right off the bat. It sold like hotcakes. I was traveling, speaking, got sick, couldn't sell it anymore. Because it's still available, but I couldn't promote it anymore. Yeah. And I really thought like, on this podcast, I'm throwing out my birthday wish, and this is what it is. If you have been impacted by the connected life and you want to give me a birthday gift, I would love for you to go to Amazon. You can get the book on audio or the physical book or the digital
Audio
copy. Digital copy. I did the audiobook. I did voices inside of it, but you can go buy a copy of that, have an experience with it, see if it actually impacts you. And if it does, go write a review on that spot because I actually want to see that book go.
Yeah, it's really, the book is unbelievable. It is like an allegory of the journey that you went on of learning how to come alive through the ups and downs of life, learning how to find childlike wonder. You know, because as adults, life can be so hard and we can lose our wonder and our joy. And so the book is really about how to hold on to our childlike wonder and find it in life. And it's massively impacted people. I mean, in every age, we have like all these like 7 to 12-year-olds that you're like their life hero. They've written whole book reports. They've written to you. They've had conversations with you. Like you are a hero to all of these little kids because it's such a fun, playful story for little kids. But then it has really deep meaning. So you have all these like teenagers to adults who are like got tattoos from the book, said it massively changed their whole life, had deep encounters with love and healing as they read it because it is a deep, meaningful, fun adventure.
Yeah, and to wrap that up, I ultimately wrote a children's story for adults in the form of a novel. Yeah. So it's a full novel. And another element is it's about facing some of the greatest tragedies and sufferings inside of life and being able to come alive in the midst of that loss, to come alive exactly where you're planted inside of life and see life as an invitation to something beautiful rather than something you have to just survive through. So that's, if you want to give me a gift, that's my birthday wish for this year.
I love it.
So
we're going to talk today about something I feel very excited about along the lines of expectations and birthdays, which is events and what it is like as a human to process through them and how to come alive and enjoy them. So when I talk about events, I'm talking about birthdays, anniversaries, weddings, holidays, vacations, you name it, like any kind of event that you are looking forward to, that you have expectations of. There's all kinds of emotions that come wrapped around that. And so because most of us have never learned how to posture our heart for events, we can find ourselves often disappointed, frustrated, hurt, and feeling stuck in that instead of it being something that we can look forward to. A lot of us have experienced pain in the past over birthdays or over holidays,
vacations,
or things like Mother's Day, Father's Day, any kind of event. And the pain can kind of build up over years if you don't actually learn how to posture your heart so that you can enjoy and enjoy your life and enjoy those days. And there is a way to enjoy those days without them having to be perfect. And that's kind of what we want to talk about, is what actually causes the intensity around big events, and then how do we come alive no matter what they look like.
Yeah. And these are events, usually these big events, these are moments of life that are meant to mark some sort of celebration. And these moments that were there for us to find enjoyment, to celebrate, to look at the goodness of life, suddenly are these things that we're completely avoiding. And I know I'll talk a little bit maybe about my birthday.
Great.
I know that for years, and I think a lot of people can identify with this, as your birthday is coming up, you're like, oh God, my birthday, I don't want to have to, like, let me just forget about it. Let me move past it. I know that that was like that for me. And I know that a few things played a role in me dreading birthdays. One was like, your birthday is supposedly a special day. And I was like, oh, there's so much pressure on this to be a really good day. So when I was asked, like, what do you want to do for your birthday? I'm like, I might choose a handful of things I want to do. And what if that's not what I actually want to do? And what if it's not special enough?
Yeah.
And what if I end up being disappointed because I do this and what I really wanted to do was this other thing over here?
Oh, you get decision paralysis because
Absolutely.
you're like, I have one day. It needs to be the most epic day ever. How do I pick all of the best things? But I don't even know what mood I'll be in that day. And I don't even know what the weather will be like. And I don't know how to make it the perfect day.
Yeah.
It's so much pressure to try. And really what we're doing in a scenario like trying to make the perfect day is we're trying to get all of our needs met from our whole life on one day. And that is an impossible quest.
So then I became an avoidant grumpy Gus about it, where I'm like, nope, don't, just leave me alone. Just what I want for my birthday is no one to bother me. I don't want any birthday parties. Just
Yes, you did become a grumpy Gus.
And so a part of it was the expectations I put on it. Then there was a sense of I had an individual in my history who, when birthday events rolled around, there were two experiences that I had together. One was this sense of like, oh, all this grandioseness is taking place for the birthday. So really cool events unfolding for it. And there was an individual that oftentimes
was very stressed.
And that stress manifested in ways that caused a lot of pain. And the pain that I ended up feeling from that made me not want birthday celebrations at all, because I'm like, no matter what, this is not going to turn out well for me.
It's going to get taken out of me. I'm going to get punished. Like, I'm going to have big emotions thrown at me that are negative. I'd rather avoid having those negative emotions put on me. So I'd rather just not celebrate.
Both during the event of the day and maybe the subsequent days afterwards. So I had a visceral body reaction to the idea of doing a birthday, because I'm just like, I'd rather not.
Yeah.
It feels like a horrible experience. And I know that whether it's birthdays or other big life events, a lot of people have historic experiences around things that taint the ability to fully celebrate them. So,
our bodies are timekeepers. And so they store the memories of our past, even if consciously we're like, it's fine, my past is my past. Your body can still hold that memory. And then even if you're like, I'm so excited about this year's birthday, your body can be like, no, you're not. Be prepared. Everything's going to fall apart. It's going to get turned on you. This is not a safe situation for you.
The end is near.
Yes, because our bodies know. They have like a clock, and they bring up those memories, whether we want them to or not. And you may not even consciously remember them. I never even, in half of the birthdays that you felt like, I don't want to celebrate this, I don't remember you talking about the pain from your childhood.
Yeah.
So it just felt like it was the current circumstances, which made less sense.
And I think another aspect around birthdays was that there was a collective like light being shined on me. And excuse me, when I had unworthiness issues,
absolutely,
that felt very exposing. So a lot of people, especially with birthdays, their unworthiness comes to the surface.
Oh yeah.
Either because of the people that gather around them or the lack of people that gather around them, right?
We're either so aware of what we don't have. Birthdays are, I mean, that happened for me so much after I went through trauma. So I had all this loss that happened in a few years, and it was overwhelming. And birthdays became a milestone of the loss. Like, oh, at this birthday, I'm missing this and this and this and this. Now I'm hyper aware of it on my birthdays, where the rest of the time I could feel it, but it didn't feel like the spotlight was on the loss. All of a sudden, my birthday felt like the spotlight is now on all of the things that are not here.
Yep, totally. Yeah, so I know that, especially once I got married, you would oftentimes instigate conversations like, hey, everybody, like everyone say one thing that they love about Justin or one way that he's impacted your life. And I was like, oh my God, I want to go hide. But the beautiful part of that is this event that felt almost painful and like drudgery every year started to become something that was very repairing for myself. Because what I would do is I began to sink in to being receptive to the love that was available. And I began the process also of letting go of expectations that I had on what it should be. And I also looked internally and started being like, why do I have so much pain around this? So I utilized this thing that I was in avoidance towards. I recognized the avoidance I had, and I went internal and said, why do I have avoidance? Oh, because this pain back here. What do I do to process this pain? So it was a liberation moment for me. So it became like all stuff like this that feels painful and stuff like that. They're actually these invitations to freedom.
Yeah. And really, it just depends on if you are resisting that, which all comes back to expectations. If your expectation is this vacation, we should have no triggers, no fights. Today is a wedding. We're all going to be happy. It's going to go over perfectly. To, like whatever the event is, if you believe that everything needs to go right, then you've already set yourself up to resist any pain or issues that come up. And then when we resist things, we have more suffering and we have more pushback. Like the more I push against pain, the more the pain pushes back against me.
Think about how many wedding stories you've heard where the wedding was ruined, not necessarily by the events, but by the emotional reaction to the events.
Sure.
So the resistance where someone's like, I wanted this to be the perfect day. And then the cake was set on fire by the dog who knocked over something, a candle, and then the cake went over, instead of being present. So when we get present with things rather than living in expectations, you have an event at a wedding that could be disastrous for one couple becomes this beautiful, funny, hysterical adventure that they're like, oh my God, our wedding was amazing and hysterical. The cake lit on fire. And then I had some other dark jokes and I just censored them out of my head. But we have this story to tell. It's memorable. You know how many weddings suck because they're perfect? Like, wow, I will forget that 2 seconds after I leave. The only thing I'll remember is that crappy dried chicken that I had to eat. But a cake gets set on fire. You're like, that was the best wedding ever.
Well, it makes me think of This Is Us. Probably one of the most memorable episodes to me was when you find out how their Thanksgiving tradition started. And it's this vacation that they're going on. They're going to her family's house for Thanksgiving, but their car breaks down. All these things, it ends up being a storm. They end up having no food. They have to just get whatever is in a vending machine. And so they pass it out. And they end up having this like traumatic Thanksgiving or whatever. It's painful. I said traumatic. That's not even traumatic. Just hard, challenging.
Yeah, difficult, challenging.
Yeah, I'm just saying people who throw around the word traumatic for all kinds of things nowadays. It's not traumatic, people. That's just a normal life event. Challenging. They have a challenging Thanksgiving, and that ends up being the Thanksgiving that creates all of their traditions, all of their most beloved things that they do for years to come. It becomes the inside jokes. It becomes the special memories. They trauma bond through it. And it now is the adventure that now is like this Thanksgiving glue for their family.
Right.
Because they survived it together. They lived it together, and it became a rich and meaningful part to them, not just, oh, Thanksgiving got ruined.
Right, like they couldn't even, excuse me, they didn't have Thanksgiving food, so they ended up having to go to a vending machine. Right? And so a tradition that got wrapped in is like we get vending machine food for Thanksgiving. But it's like, it's now become a staple moment where each year they're going, I feel what it felt like when we were 13 years old.
Totally.
And that entire Thanksgiving fell apart as we eat this vending machine food and we think about the
good old times.
The good old times that are inside of it. Instead of having 18 Thanksgiving, that you grew up 18 years of
perfect.
Thanksgivings that were perfect. And it's just like, it all blends together.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all had Thanksgiving turkey. Right? You know?
Yeah. I think about so this is a lot of how can I enjoy events when there is so many things set up against us for events. So I want to just talk about the things set up against us. So one, we have body memories. So like for me, I had so many actual traumatic, not traumatic like their Thanksgiving, but traumas happen around Thanksgiving time that my body will lock up around Thanksgiving time. And so I had to be like, what can I do to make this something that is fun? What kind of expectations can I have? And what kinds of acceptance can I have in order to make this less painful for me? So one part of acceptance to me is knowing I am going to have sad emotions. I'm going to have grief come up at Thanksgiving because I went through several major losses at Thanksgiving. I'm not going to say this year, I hope the grief doesn't come. I'm like, this year, the grief is going to come. So I've let my friends know like, oh, we're coming up on Thanksgiving. That's a hard holiday for me. And so they're aware and they're people I can process with if something comes up. And then I also have accepted that even though I'm going to have emotions come up, there's also going to be beautiful new memories because I've had a lot of beautiful things happen on Thanksgivings. So I'm consciously going to be looking, and my goal is not, oh, I hope that this year I finally have a good Thanksgiving. Or I hope
one
that
is free from an experience of pain or a reminder of that pain.
Yeah, that's not my hope. My hope now it's like, oh, I'm going to pick things that I have control of. I hope I'm really, like this Thanksgiving, my intention is to be kind to myself when pain comes up. This Thanksgiving, my expectation is to actually work on gratitude, to have more gratitude in my life. Tony Robbins says this quote that if you replaced expectations with gratitude, I don't know how he ends the quote, but it's like your whole life would be better and everything would change. Like the disappointment would be gone if you replaced expectations with gratitude. So I'm like, oh, for Thanksgiving, I can work on being thankful. And then I actually make some decisions of like, what is one thing that I can have control over that I would like that would make my Thanksgiving happy? Maybe it's like, oh, this food really is something that is comforting for me for Thanksgiving. I'm going to make sure that I cook this food while also holding that if that food gets burned, that there's a couple other things that I have set in motion to look forward to.
Right. It's not
so
the
that
only
not
thing.
all of my expectation is put on one thing. And that is something that I've really learned. I think about my 40th birthday. And one of the reasons it was really successful, there was like some things that went really well and some things that were really hard. And it was all mixed together on my 40th. And part of the reason my 40th was successful is I expected that. I was like, no, birthdays bring up emotions. I have all the emotions about all the trauma I went through in my 30s. I have all of my emotions that are of excitement about stepping into my 40s. I have all kinds of feelings of like, what should a 40th birthday party look like? All of my expectations of that. And a lot of it is that we have meaning that we're attaching to all of it. So is my party big enough to make people think I'm living a good life? Or do I have enough meaning or love in my life? Is my birthday show that people care about me? All of those, the meaning makers.
Right. What does this say about me or my life?
Yes. And we do this with everything. Like Mother's Day. I have so many friends of mine who on Mother's Day get really disappointed because they're like, that's my one day to get my needs met, to show that I am actually valuable, to show that people do actually care. Well, that's a lot of pressure to put on that one day to fill all of your significant bucket and all of your appreciation bucket. And so we often attach meaning to events like, oh, if this holiday is magical, I will be free from the amount of stress I feel in my job all the time. Or if we get my life has been so stressful, I need this vacation to be relaxing so that I can finally feel okay again. Like we just create like a lot of pressure on these events. And that sets up for failure. So I was like, I'm turning 40. There's going to probably be moments that I love and feel really excited and love it. And there's probably going to be moments that I have other emotions, and there's probably going to be things that go well, and there's probably going to be things that didn't go well. And it was like that. There was lots of things where I was like, oh, I was scared. I was overwhelmed. My uncle had just died. So it felt like really overwhelming to plan a 40th. I wish I would have invited a bunch of my friends to come to it, but I was too overwhelmed to even think of that. But instead of thinking I only get one shot at a 40th, I was like, listen, if I want to, I can have a huge 43rd birthday. I can have a huge 45th birthday. I can have a huge 50th birthday. I can have a huge 51st birthday. Like, I get to choose. Like, I don't have to have my one big birthday on this year. So I can fill that need whenever I need to. So I first was like, there's an abundance. This isn't my one shot. Then I also was like, there's going to be hard things. So when the hard things came up, I was like, okay, great. And then I was like, I'm going to have a couple things that would feel really meaningful to me so that there's not expectation on this one thing working out perfectly. And it's great because I had a couple events, and one of the events went awful. I mean, it just if that would have been my birthday party, I would have been so sad. But it was like one of a couple. So then I was like, oh, that didn't go well. That's fine because I have another shot at another thing that'll be nice.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, you're talking about thinking outside the box. Mm-hmm. What has to be. Something that came to mind was I have this one client who on Father's Days, his whole day is always stolen by the family that supposedly loves him. Because they're like, we want to spend time with you, Dad. And really the day is about the family. It's not about the dad because they want to be around him. So he got creative and he was like, Saturday is for the family. Sunday is for Dad. So he started having Saturdays as celebrating Father's Day with the family. They got to do whatever they wanted with Dad, and they got to like have all this stuff. And then Sundays, he left the family. He abandoned them all to their own devices, and he went on to do his own life. But then all of a sudden, he wasn't living. He was constantly every Father's Day. He's like, I want one flippin' day that's about me. It's Father's Day. It says it's Father's Day, but it's about my entire family. I'm sick and tired of them just like sucking the life out of me on the one day that is meant for me to do whatever I want.
Then he's in resistance. Whenever the family's doing things to love him, he's actually feeling annoyed by their love.
Yes, and
he's
they're
actually feeling like you're taking up my time.
Yeah, you're stealing from me, little.
Instead of now when it's on Saturday, he can actually enjoy the love they're wanting to give and enjoy what they're planning, enjoy their enjoyment of him because he knows he's going to get something he needs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think about going back to my birthdays, my 40th as well. I was having so many emotions, having a meltdown about that because I felt so much pressure for the big 4-0. And you had said, you basically were like, look, what if the entire year, your whole birthday year of leading up to 40 is your birthday? Yeah. And you have a bunch of events all along the way. And I was
what if instead of having to have one event that is the magic, you can just have a whole year of little events or big events or whatever.
Spaced out. And I was like, you can do that? What? That's outside the box. And I was like, okay. So the whole year was me being like, here's another 40th birthday event. Who wants to attend? I'm sure some people are like, please, we're over you.
No, people loved it because they didn't have to go to all of them because lots of them were so diverse.
Yeah, so there was So by the time I hit the actual day of it, I was like, I feel so filled. I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. I just got so much joy along the way of it. So let today be whatever it is.
Yeah, so
I don't even remember what I did on that day.
I don't either.
But I remember a bunch of events all along the way.
Yeah, well, because you're taking the pressure off. And I think that's a big thing is when we put a lot of pressure. And again, pressure is expectations. I think about people with vacations. You spend all this time planning it and you spend all this money. And one of the things that makes events higher stakes is when you put a lot of time or money into them.
Yeah.
Or intention. So like if you put a ton of time into making Mother's Day gifts and then your mom is disappointed, then you'll feel really sad because you were really excited about it, you know. But if you, and so the idea is just understanding that the more time, energy, and money you spend on something, that is creating a higher expectation. So you have to consciously let go of that expectation. And you have to be like, I'm planning this vacation. And you know what? On the vacation, we're probably going to have some really fun days, and we're probably going to have some really exhausting days, and we're probably going to have some days when we're all fighting at each other. And that is what a successful vacation is going to be. Not that I finally feel connected to my whole family and we all love each other for a week. Not that we're all happy the whole time. Not that every single thing we planned goes according to plan, because all of those things are setting ourselves up for failure.
I mean, I've done that around planning birthdays for you. And then there's been a few birthdays where you've had some strong emotions around the birthdays. But in the back of my head, I created expectations as someone who's, it's not my birthday.
Yeah.
It's your birthday, but I'm a participant in it. And I'm like, I'm going to do all this. And I can't wait till I see her face light up and she's going to be so happy about it. So grateful for what I've done.
Yep.
Totally wrong expectations to have. Just saying, like, ultimately, I like learning how to be present with, like, I'm doing this because I love her, not because I'm concerned with the reaction I'm going to get. And all of the time, energy, and money that I'm putting into this is a joyful journey for me that I am present in. So when you approach it like that, again, it was an event for you, but it is a big event and it's an event for you. And I had to say, am I enjoying this? I'm enjoying doing this. If she doesn't like this, that's totally okay, because I've loved the process of creating and doing this. And then I just get to be like, oh, she has mixed emotions. That's totally okay. And not even saying that those were aimed at me or anything.
Totally.
It's just like what I had inside of my head created disappointment for me until I cleaned that slate.
Yeah. And I think that is an interesting angle too, is that we can have as many expectations for the people we're celebrating as for when we're being celebrated. And I just think sometimes, like, pressure just ruins our ability to be present. So when I feel like I need to, like, if I need to feel like this birthday, Justin put all this work into this birthday party and it's amazing, I need to feel joy to a level 10 so that I enjoy it, because I'm probably never going to have something wonderful like this again. That pressure will instantly, now I'm thinking about my need to feel joy, not actually just feeling joy, you know?
Yeah. You said your need to feel joy. And
like, if I feel pressure, like I'm supposed to enjoy this at a level 10, but really I'm enjoying it at like a level 6, but it's my 40th birthday, so that I must be failing it. There must be something wrong with me. Then I turn on myself. Now I'm beating myself up. Now I'm enjoying it at a level 3.
Yeah. And there are definitely people who live a life that say, when a big event, a special event happens, I'm supposed to have these types of emotions about it.
Yes.
And specifically, usually it's a sense of happiness and joy. And that doesn't leave room for the human condition.
Yeah.
Of, like, the human condition is not just happiness and it's not just joy. It's an amalgamation of so many emotions. And can I fully embrace my human experience? So that's what we have to start to do with these, is like, I want to fully, like, learn how to embrace the fullness of my human experience around these events.
You know, somebody that did a great job with this was Pizzi when she was pregnant. Because I think giving birth is one of those things. You're waiting for 9 months, 10 months leading up to this. And you're like, I'm giving birth. And so you have lots of expectations, lots of emotions about how it's going to go. Obviously, it'd be impossible not to. So what she consciously did is she actually meditated on, this is what I would like for the birth process to be like. And she also meditated on, and this is the acceptance and surrender I have that it may not look that way. There may be complications. There may be hard things. She wanted to do birth naturally. She was like, I might have to go to the hospital. I might have to do an epidural. And so she opened her heart to, like, this is what I would like for it to look like, but I am not going, like, it will not catch me off guard if it looks like any of the other options.
Right.
And she embraced and accepted that it could look any of the ways. And that doesn't mean she's a failure. And again, the meaning we assign to events is typically the most painful part of the story. So if you're like, I'm successful at giving birth because I did it naturally, and then if you have to do a C-section or if you do an epidural, that means you're a failure, well, then that's going to ruin the event for you. But if you're like, I'm successful because I'm doing it, I'm successful because I'm going to adapt to what's happening. I'm going to accept that it could look many different ways. That concept starts to awaken us to being able to be present and grateful for what is, instead of so frustrated at what isn't going our way or what is not looking right. Like I think about vacations, one of the things I've accepted, like I have now, I'll premeditate and I'll be like, this is going to be a nice time, but I'm probably going to have a day where I feel so stressed about how I'm not going to get enough time, because every time I'm on vacation, I'm like, I need like 13 more days so I can fully relax, so that I can fully feel at peace, so that everything's going to be okay. And then I'm also like, I also really, really need us to be connected, and I really, really need us to be fine. And I've let go of, I literally visualize before a trip. I'm like, there's going to be moments where I feel like it's not going to be long enough. There's going to be moments where I feel like I'm not getting all the rest that I need. There's going to be moments that me and Justin get into in conflict, because we all get into conflicts when we go on vacation. It's like the secret. That's just what happens. It's just what happens. And so instead of resisting and being like, no, I'm like, I accept that it'll happen. When it does happen, I'm not going to be caught off guard. I'm going to be like, oh, here's the fight that we're going to get on vacation. I'm not going to be mad and be like, you're ruining my vacation. Because the more pressure and the more I try to shove it down with, this needs to be perfect, you're ruining it. The more I try to control something, the more it resists, the more it persists, the longer it lasts.
Yeah, my longest standing best friend, Craig, this reminds me of literally a story I heard 2 days ago from him. And basically he'd been in this job that he'd hated. Like he'd been there for a couple years, and every day was like Chinese water torture to his soul, because it just wasn't the right fit. But it's what he needed to do to provide for his family, and he was committed to that, right? And so this beautiful story opens up where he ends up getting a dream job. Everything's opening up. And so as he transitions out of his old job, he's actually, because of the way his days off work that was still owed to him, he had 2 weeks paid that he was going to get, and 2 weeks between then and when he would start his new job.
So it was like 2 weeks paid vacation where he has no job.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Before he goes on to the next new thing.
And this is where it's so easy to build expectation, right? Because you're like, I've been working so hard. It's been so horrible. And now I have these 2 weeks that I get to live. So these 2 weeks better be perfect.
And he's been grinding like 60, almost 70-hour weeks at the other job. So he's desperately needs this 2 weeks. So he packs up the family in the car to head to Minnesota to do a fishing trip with some of his family. And the little kiddos are all excited. And they're not far down the road in this drive from Texas to Minnesota, and all of a sudden they start having car problems. Car breaks down.
Oh, no.
All of a sudden they're in this random small town. They can't find anyone to fix the car. And they're starting to have the meltdown, because this is going to be our 2 weeks. What is happening? And then someone says, I will move everything out of the way for you and your family, because they were told that they're going to have to stay a couple days in this town. But this other person goes, I can do it today. They found one last person that could do it.
Man.
But it was going to cost him everything that he was making for those 2 weeks.
Oh, man. What a bummer.
Right? And immediately a punch to the kidney.
Oh, totally.
And
just
he's
like,
peeing blood.
How long is our vacation going to be ruined for? Are we even going to get to our destination? I don't know. Are we going to be stuck in this small town?
So initially it all starts falling. And he could sit and stay in the pity party of that.
Yes.
It ends up shaving off 6 to 8 hours of their driving time sitting there. And then he still has to drive another 9 hours to a destination before they get to sleep. He's wore out. And that's his first day of it. But he kept in the mindset of like, no, like this is just part of what happens.
This is what life is. This is the adventure.
He ran into some bumps within the family system.
Sure.
But they made it through. And he was like, the rest of the vacation, like it could have been utterly destroyed if him and his wife went at each other and were like, oh, we're going to take this out on each other.
Right.
But they shifted gears.
Yeah.
And there's all these beautiful memories of his little girls like catching fish and them getting so excited about fishing the entire time.
Aww.
And it was like, no, that was a really beautiful vacation for us.
Yeah.
But one day could have eradicated the goodness of the whole thing if he did not accept the circumstance that he had been in.
Yeah. And this is where acceptance is what acceptance does is it helps you actually assimilate what is happening so that you can actually then be present in the next moment and the next moment. And resistance is like, I am not letting this happen. And so then it actually hangs over you the whole time. And I was thinking about even, I don't know what that was like for his wife, but this is why vacations and holidays can be so hard, because if it was me and I was the wife, I'd be like, we're finally going to get 2 weeks where you're not working, where you're not stressed, where you're not, focused on this stuff. And so that's the problem, is we have expectations and everyone around us has expectations.
Yep.
I think about these friends of mine, and they both grew up having painful Christmases. Like, Christmas was a painful time for them. And so the way that, and this is what happens, we create too much meaning out of events. So they're like, so we will now make sure Christmases are magical. And so because of that, they both have expectations that Christmas needs to be magical. Well, that creates a high stakes environment. So if something goes wrong and it's not magical, they're both stressed and disappointed. Yep. And it's hard. Listen, I don't know anyone who's not disappointed on some holiday or birthday or celebration. Disappointment is a part of life. And it's very hard to not just have subconscious expectations that are leading you. And so, but our ability to tolerate the disappointment, accept it, and then get to gratitude. What are the good things that can come now is really important. One of my friends does this around her birthday. She says, there are a lot of moments that I have been loved well in my life. And there are a lot of moments in the future that I will be loved. I do not have to get all of my love needs met on my birthday. I don't need to take this day and make sure that every unmet need that I have is now met. That's one of the ways that she prepares herself, is the acceptance of this holiday is not meant to get rid of all of my pain.
Yeah. I was thinking about how, I'm using Craig's example where his life got interrupted for one day. And we have a lot of ideas of what we think we need and what we think we want. And without an eternal perspective on the thing, we will feel like something's being stolen from us.
My needs aren't going to get met. I'm not going to get the rest I need. I'm not going to get the relaxation I need. I'm not going to get the fun I need.
Well, even more than that, like, when I look at the bigger picture, sometimes you'll get hit with a curveball that feels really painful. And maybe it doesn't feel just. Maybe there's a loss in the family and death all of a sudden around a moment or something like that. But I'm looking at these hard moments that come around times of celebration or times of wanting to have fun and joy that interrupt our lives. And sometimes when you look back in life, you go, that event that felt like hell over there, that when it was supposed to be a celebratory moment, initiated something inside of me that became an invitation for me to heal in a way, to grow in a certain way, to evolve, to connect in new ways. Like, I think about the holidays when I was really sick, right? I wouldn't wish my sickness on my worst enemy that I went through, right? But what that event did, when I look from an eternal perspective, I couldn't see it in the moment, but the invitation that I extracted out of it is learning how to be more kind, more patient, more gentle, and more. I started figuring out how to enjoy more of the life that was right in front of me and seeing it as a gift. So when I look at it from an eternal perspective, a life fully lived, I go, these things that look like such massive mountains in the way of us getting what we need are actually the springboard into things that I couldn't have bought. Totally. I couldn't have paid for. And it depends, again, it depends on how you look at it, and it depends on how you choose to live out your life from these moments. So again, I'll have things that aren't so fun. I'm like, yeah, I acknowledge this isn't fun. And is this something that I can extract from and make my life way better?
Yeah. So I love that. That's beautiful. I'm pivoting now. That was not a good transition of me. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm just going over like the kind of the solutions that we've made, which is accept that life happens on any day and in any event. So good things and bad things and wonderful things and disappointing things can happen no matter how much you've planned or whatever. And the more you brace against just life being normal, the more difficult it is to recover. And so if we can just accept, like, it's my wedding day and there's probably going to be things that are going great and there's probably going to be things that are complicated. And, you know, I think about this really quick with when people have their honeymoons, if they've never had sex before, the amount of expectations and pressure they have on that often creates devastating lifelong consequences because their honeymoon doesn't go the exact way that they thought it would, or they thought it should, or they didn't plan. They were like, no, because we waited this whole time, it's going to be magical. It's going to be easy. And we put a lot of fantasy into expectations of how things should go. So if we can get back to the acceptance that like everything in life has beauty and complications. Life is complex. There's not a holiday I've had where there wasn't complex things. Even if it was like, oh, my holiday was great, but my friend was really going through this, that's complex. So accepting that, coming up with ideas for what you can do that you have power over that can give you a sense of control. I like a healthy sense of control. So on my birthday, I always pick a couple things like, oh, maybe I want to go to escape rooms and I want to eat this food. Now it doesn't matter, like if people come or don't come to the party, or if the weather is great or we have to cancel, all of those things, those variables, like I'm counting on a couple things and create a couple things so that it's not all on one thing. If your whole dream is to see an escape room, maybe be like, and then the escape room's closed on your birthday, I think, oh, I can have a birthday week. So it's that idea of spreading expectations so you don't have to get it all in one time. And then holding intentions like that are achievable, like, oh, on this birthday, my goal is that I want to notice beauty a little bit more than I did last year. I want to be kind to myself with whatever emotions come up. A goal like that is achievable no matter what. I want to be really compassionate towards myself this year. Or I want to be really, or something like I might choose this year, I'm going to give gifts on my birthday because I have control over that. So then I don't have to be upset if people don't give me a gift. I can be like, well, that's not what this birthday was about for me. I was choosing what I wanted to do. So I like the sense of agency when you get to feel like life isn't happening to you because there is something that you're choosing that you get to do.
Yeah. I was just thinking about how much stress gets to be relieved in living this way. I just was pondering also the idea of acceptance, because I know that in my own world, I've said so many times, I accept that this is what this day is.
Yes.
I choose to embrace, like you and I have had so many moments in these podcasts. Like a podcast day is a big event for us.
Because there's pressure and expectation.
Right. And so, of how many we can record, what we need to get done in the middle of our days, and oftentimes they don't go
Will
well.
I wear a sweater as a blanket because I'm so cold?
Yeah.
You'll only understand that if you can see on YouTube.
Yeah. But it's like I've come even like with these events and been like, okay, Abby and I it's not going well. The clock is counting down. And we're not going to have enough time to fully record today if we can't get on the same page with this. And where I can escalate it, or what I've done, which is just sit and be like, I accept that we're not in a good headspace together. And this might be a day that's a wash, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's just another day.
And that goes along with the abundant mentality of like, and we'll have more days to record.
Yeah, we'll find another day to record.
We'll find another day. And that goes along with the abundant mentality on all of these celebrations. Like I will have so many days where I get to be celebrated the rest of my life. I don't have to have it all in this one. I'll have so many Christmases for the rest of my life. I don't have to get all of my needs met on this Christmas. Like the idea of being able to see there is more than enough time and resources to come alive. So one event is not the measurement of, are you successful? Are you worthy? Are you lovable? Do people value you? One day is not an accurate definition of who you are.
And to wrap this up, I want to go back to one word I'm going to repeat again, which is the word presence. Can I be present in the life that's right in front of me? Present in the moment that I'm in? Present in the difficulty that I'm in right now? Can I just learn how to be present? Because that's really what we're talking about. Expectations are living outside of the present. Mm-hmm. Being present says I'm letting go of the expectations, mm-hmm. and I'm just going to be here with what comes and goes. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to figure out how I want to respond. Because when you're present, you're responding. When you're not present, you're reacting.
Totally.
And so to me, that's again like where beauty and creative ideas happen, because all of a sudden you're not caught up in being caught off guard. Mm-hmm. You're like, I wasn't on guard in the first place. I was just sitting here just being like, all right, what is this next thing that's going to present itself to me, and how do I be present with that?
Now, I'm going to call myself out on this one, and I'm going to say, I don't know how to get rid of my expectations. So I haven't. What I've done is I've just gotten more realistic expectations. So I'm like, I still have expectations, but now my expectations are, there's going to be hard things and there's going to be good things. There's going to be times when me and Justin might snap at each other. And there's going to be times that we feel really connected. There's going to be times where things go well, and there's going to be times when things feel like they're falling apart. There's going to be stress and there's going to be joy. That expectation feels like that's realistic for it to happen. And that helps me have more acceptance, because I'm like, no, realistically, on my birthday, there's going to be moments that are like, oh, this was so wonderful and meaningful. And there might be moments where I'm like, oh man, that kind of hurt. And if that happens, I'm like, oh yeah, I thought this could happen. And so then it feels easier to digest.
Yeah. So to land the plane, for people who are listening, I would suggest that you take a kind of an inventory of your life, mm-hmm. and reflect and go, what are the special events that I find myself avoiding, having mm-hmm. big anxieties about, getting suddenly angry about, things like that, and write a list of them just to go, mm-hmm. all right, these are the major events. And then begin to ask yourself, do I have expectations I've created around them?
And what is the meaning I've assigned to them?
Correct.
Like, I know a lot of people, like, Christmases are, am I a good mom or not? If I create a magical Christmas, I'm a good mom. If it's not a great Christmas, I'm a bad mom. Well, now your whole identity is based on that Christmas.
Mm-hmm. And people's reactions that you can't control, and how it unfolds. And then with that, facing that, asking the question, what do I need to adjust mm-hmm. inside of the way I see this and the way that I approach this? Can I approach this differently, like Abby and Justin said? Like, is there creative ways to approach these events differently where there's room for the messy and the complexities, as well as the enjoyment and the play and the fun? So that's one thing.
Yeah. I think that we do process disappointments, though. I think that's valuable to say.
Yeah.
Like, just because I have more realistic expectations, I still get disappointed. But now I'm better at holding it, because I'll be like, oh, I can feel disappointed. I might tell you, I feel disappointed about this thing. I'm no longer blaming you, or I no longer think it's up to you to make me feel loved or wanted or special enough that day. So now I can just say, like, I feel this little disappointment. You can normally be really comforting because you've accepted that as well. And I can feel that feeling and then come to gratefulness. We didn't really talk about allowing ourselves to actually acknowledge the disappointment, but I felt that before. And I've just learned how to communicate it in a way that's not blaming or taking it out on the people around me.
I think that for me, there's an area with disappointments where I also, when I see a disappointment, I ask myself, what's a unrealistic expectation, or just the expectation I put around this mm-hmm. and that's causing me to feel this disappointment. I'm like, oh yeah, totally had an expectation here.
Yeah.
I just need to be aware of that.
One of the expectations I had in life was that it was just all going to work at a certain season. everything would be good.
Like everything would work. You'd find
Find
everything
that
firing.
alignment season where everything, you're in the right flow with your job and all of your friends are connected and everybody's happy and thriving and your body is healthy. Like you'll hit on and I just have realized that a realistic expectation of life is that there's always complexity. There's always these things that are, like even if everything's good in my life, like maybe one of my friends is struggling with their health. That's sad.
Yeah.
So I've learning how to embrace life for the adventure of the beauty and the pain together. I'm no longer resisting that. And that's helped me enjoy life more. And that's why I think people should get your book, because that is the journey of the book, is learning how to see the beauty and the pain, learning how to come alive in the midst of the chaos. And it's an incredible book. It's called The Tree of Life. Go to Amazon.com. That's Justin's birthday wish. I'm just bringing it back to your birthday. I'm excited that it's your birthday. I love that book. I'm excited for people to get it.
Yeah.
I like hearing all the stories. It's pretty incredible how it's impacted people.
Yeah.
It impacted me. And this is going to be a good birthday because we just had this conversation. So you're going to have no expectations.
Yep.
And I can disappoint you all day long.
Oh, thanks. That's so sweet. I love that gift. If you haven't already, you can go to JustinAbi, that's abi.com. You can sign up to our mailing list through adding your name. There's a banner that should pop up or somewhere where on the front page where you can sign up and get a free digital copy of our book, From Crappy to Happy in 7 Steps.
Yeah, and we have the Compassion Project. We have so many products, relationship glue. We have things to help you in every stage of relationship and healing.
Yeah,
so you can
browse all that. Yep. And it was really good having this conversation with you on my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, thanks so much. You're
old, and I love it. You're the sexiest 42-year-old that I know.
43-year-old.
43?
Mm-hmm.
How exciting. Oh.
Ooh.
Very exciting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was purposely lying so no one could track your age.
45.
49. Look at how good you look.
39. Anyways, hey, thanks for spending time with me, Abby.
I love you.
All of you out there, thanks for spending time with me on my birthday. And thank you all for engaging the podcast.
Yeah.
We hear so many incredible stories weekly from people who send out messages to let us know how they've been being affected and stuff like that. And I honestly always sit and I find myself even teary-eyed sometimes being like, I don't know like how it is that people are trusting me. Like I feel so honored that like you're trusting me enough to allow me into your relationships, Abby and I both, and to allow us to impact your families and how you're living out your life. So that's not lost on me that we get to participate in your world like that. So thank you. And thank you for saying yes to being committed to coming into our world, stepping into our world, all of you that are so consistently listening and stuff. We really appreciate you all. And yeah.
That is nice. I do appreciate everybody who writes in.
Yeah. I
appreciate the ones who don't write in too.
Yeah, but I feel very blessed that people would take and just be like, I want to listen to what you have to say, and I want to apply this to my life, and it's so cool.
It's fun that we find a tribe of people who all want to grow with us.
Yeah.
I kind of love the tribe we have. Like, we're all messy, but we want to learn.
We have a good tribe, a really good tribe, like down to earth, authentic people who are
vulnerable, real.
My life is not perfect, and I'm going to find a way to love myself inside of it. It's so cool. So, all right, I'm going away.
Okay, me too.
Bye now.